back to normal. The honest truth is this: things will get worse before they get better. I told you I'll always level with you. You know, and the policy changes that we're going to be making are going to take time to show up in the COVID statistics. And they're not just statistics, it's people's lives. People getting infected today don't show up in case counts for weeks. Those who perish from this disease die weeks after exposure. So it will take time. But I know there are things we can do, and we can do them now. For example, vaccines offer so much hope. We're grateful for the scientists and researchers and everyone who participated in the clinical trials. We're grateful for the integrity of the process, the rigorous review and testing that's led to millions of people around the world already being vaccinated. The vaccine rollout in the United States has been a dismal failure. And in today's briefing, we discussed 5 things we'll do to attempt to turn things around. 5 things to turn frustration into motivation. 5 things to help us meet our goal of 100 million shots by the end of our first 100 days in office. Some wonder if we're reaching too far for that goal. Is it achievable? It's a legitimate question to ask. Let me be clear. I'm convinced we can get it done. And this is a time to set big goals, to pursue them with courage and conviction, because the health of the nation is literally at stake. First, we will immediately work with states to open up vaccinations to more priority groups. The process of establishing priority groups was driven by science, but the problem is the implementation has been too rigid and confusing. If you were to ask most people today, they couldn't tell you who exactly is getting vaccinated. What they do know is there are tens of millions of doses of vaccine sitting unused in freezers around the country, while people who want and need the vaccine can't get it. We'll fix the problem by encouraging states to allow more people to get vaccinated beyond healthcare workers and move through those groups as quickly as they think we can. That includes anyone 65 years old, a population that has accounted for over 80% of the deaths to date. 80% of deaths to date. We also have to continue vaccinating frontline essential workers like educators, first responders, grocery store workers, etc. It won't mean that everyone in this group will get vaccinated immediately, as the supply is not where it needs to be. But it will mean that vaccines become available. As they become available, we'll reach more people who need them. We'll reach out and get the vaccine used. The second thing we're going to change, if we're getting more people vaccinated, then we need more vaccination sites. That's where we're going to harness the full resources of the federal government to establish thousands of community vaccination centers. On my first day in office, I'll instruct the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to begin setting up the first of these centers. By the end of our first month in office, we'll have 100 federally supported centers across the nation that will ultimately vaccinate millions of people. Think of the places that are convenient and accessible: school gymnasiums, sports stadiums, community centers. We've already had productive conversations with bipartisan groups of county officials, mayors, governors, tribal leaders, leaders of the private sector, who shared their ideas with us about this effort. And as we build them, we're going to make sure it's done equitably. We're going to make sure there are vaccination centers in communities hit hardest by the pandemic, in Black and Latino communities, and rural communities as well.
Don't worry about us, bro.
Of our administration, we're going to deploy mobile clinics.
They're going to knock on your door.
That will partner with community health centers and local primary care doctors to offer vaccines to hard-hit and hard to reach communities.
Y'all get that vaccine now.
Small towns and rural.
Y'all blacks first now.
And to staff up these centers, we will mobilize thousands of clinical and non-clinical professionals. Think of the people deployed that we deploy in natural disasters. Experts from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, from FEMA, and the Center of Disease Control,
Bruh.
our Public Health Service Commission Corps, our military.
FEMA and them coffins, bruh. I ain't trying to.
Additionally, we're going to expand the pool of medical professionals, including retired healthcare workers, who can administer the vaccine and to ensure we have enough vaccinators to meet the nation's needs as we ramp this up. And as governors of both parties have asked, our administration will reimburse states 100% when their National Guard is deployed in the fight against COVID.
What?
We will provide resources to help states cover the cost of personnel, vaccinators, administrative staff, as well as supplies like dry ice and laptops, protective equipment.
What's up, bro?
We're going to fully activate the pharmaceutical.
Literally, as soon as I get off of work,
the country
he started
to get the
streaming.
vaccination to more arms as quickly as possible. Millions of Americans now turn to the local pharmacies every day for their medicines, flu shots, and much more. We're going to immediately start new major efforts, working directly with both independent and chain pharmacies to get Americans vaccinated. This program will expand beyond access in neighborhoods across the country, so that you can make an appointment and get your shot, conveniently show up at a particular time, and get it done quickly. The fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to use the full strength of the federal government to ramp up supply of the vaccines. As I said before, we use the Defense Production Act to work with private industry to accelerate the making of materials needed to supply and administer the vaccine, from the tube and syringes to protective equipment. And I've already asked the team, and we have identified the suppliers who are prepared to work with our teams, and we're going to work with their teams. Not someday we're going to do this. When I said we're going to invoke the Defense Production Act, said go out, even though we don't have the authority now, go out and identify those companies that are prepared and will be able to do what we're going to ask. As we made clear earlier this month, the Trump administration's policy of holding back close to half the supply of the vaccines available did not make sense. Our administration will release the vast majority of the vaccines when they're available, so more people can get vaccinated quickly while still retaining a small reserve for any unseen shortage or delays. But let me be clear, we are not changing the FDA's recommendation and its recommended dosing schedules. We believe it's critical that everyone should get 2 doses within the FDA recommended time frame. So we're not doing away with that availability. Fifth, we will always be honest and transparent about where we stand, both the good news as well as the bad. We're going to make sure state and local officials know how much supply they'll be getting and when they can expect to get it so they can plan. Right now, we're hearing that they can't plan because they don't know how much supply of vaccines they can expect at what time frame. That stops when we're in office. We also promise to provide regular updates to you, the American people, on our progress and our goals. We will be, I promise you, transparent about the decisions we are making and why we're making the decisions. You're entitled to know. Our administration will lead with science and sciences, with the Center for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health, that will be free and totally free from political influence. A Surgeon General who's independent and speaks directly to the American people. The FDA, whose decisions are based on science and science alone, speaking directly to you. Look, while millions of Americans have already gotten the vaccine and millions more are already to get it, we also know we need to address vaccine hesitancy and build trust in many communities.
Yeah. Let's
You
see how
know,
we do that.
that's the case, for example, in Black, Latino, and Native American communities. People who have not always been treated with dignity and honesty they deserve by
Tuskegee
the federal
experiment.
government and the scientific community throughout our history.
Yeah.
We also see that disinformation campaigns are already underway to further undermine trust in the vaccines.
Bruh.
Our administration will launch a massive public education campaign to rebuild that trust. We'll help people understand what science tells us.
You got to do more than
The
that.
vaccines help reduce the risk of COVID infections and can better safeguard our health and the health of our families and our communities. It's a critical piece to account for a tragic reality of the disproportionate impact this virus has had on Black, Latinos, and Native American people who are being infected about 4 times the rate of white Americans and dying at nearly 3 times the rate of white Americans. This is unacceptable. It's unconscionable.
Well, if you want to address that, then address the comorbidities
Of COVID response.
and how these comorbidities are more prevalent in
Vice President and I commit to making sure
communities of color, Black community, Hispanic communities.
those living with
Let's talk about
and
access to
are not
healthcare. Let's talk about access to good quality food and good quality,
Our plan is as clear.
environmental
Get more
causes.
people vaccinated for free. Create more places for them to get vaccinated. Mobilize more medical teams to get the shots in people's arms.
Yeah.
Increase supply and get it out the door as soon as possible. This will be one of the most challenging operational efforts ever undertaken by our country. But you have my word. We will manage the hell out of this operation. But as I said last night, we need funding from Congress to make this happen. And I'm optimistic. I'm convinced the American people are ready to spare no effort and no expense to get this done. All of these steps will take some time. It may take many months to get where we need to be. There will be stumbles. And yes, I know so much has already been asked of you. And when we're sworn in next week, we're going to ask you to keep the faith and keep following what we know works. One of our 100-day challenges is to mask up everyone. The day we're inaugurating, we're going to ask you to mask up for the next 100 days. This is not a political issue. I will issue an executive order to require masks where I have the authority to do that. And for federal workers, federal property, and interstate travel, like trains and planes. We'll also be working with mayors and governors of red states and blue states to require and ask them to require masking up in their cities and their states. Look, I hope we now know this is not a political issue. This is about saving lives.
What did he say? What did we say? I'm gonna do them 100 days of mass now.
Stupid thing for it to happen. This is a patriotic act. We're asking you. We're in a war with this virus. And experts say and have shown that wearing a mask from now until April will save as many as 50,000 lives.
Oh, bruh. These are not
Quite frankly,
N9, N5, N95 masks.
The Capitol is under siege by a deadly mob of thugs refusing to wear a mask while they're in secure locations. I'm so proud of my congressman right here in the state of Delaware, Lisa Brunt Rochester, trying to hand out masks while people are lying on the floor, huddled up, and a Republican colleague refusing to put them on. What the hell is the matter with them? It's time to grow up. Result? At least 4 members of Congress today, including a cancer survivor, now have COVID-19 who were in those rooms. For God's sake, wear a mask if not for yourself, for your loved ones, for your country. These are real matters of life and death. We need you to stick with hand washing, social distancing, and avoid indoor gatherings with people outside your own
Not
house.
one word about increasing your immune
So
system.
if things are working, we'll help do more.
No vitamin D, no working out,
When things can
no
improve, we'll bring
staying
more
away from
resources to bear to get folks tested.
alcohol and smoking, eating better. None of that. That's how you know it's bullshit.
And with the private sector, who we know all want to partner with us in this effort. More people who vaccinate. And the faster we do it, the sooner we can put this pandemic behind us. And the sooner we can build our economy back better and get back to our lives and to our loved ones. As we're seeing during this pandemic, we can't solve our problems as a divided nation. The only way we come through this is if we come through together as Americans, fellow Americans, and as the United States of America. Vice President-elect Harris and I ran on that vision. Starting at noon on Wednesday, that's exactly how we're going to govern and ask for your help. God bless you all and keep you safe. And may God protect our troops. Thank you. Yes.
Well, there you have it, right? I started this about, I would say, 6 minutes late. I started about 6 minutes late. All right, there we go. All right. So I started about 6 minutes late, and, I don't think I missed too much. If I did, let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Are you guys psyched, geeked about contact tracing? Are you geeked about masks for 100 days? Did you believe him? Did he instill confidence in you that things are going to get better, things are going to be all right? Or did you leave? Do you still have a feeling of, I don't know? Did he make you feel better? I have my own thoughts on it. I've been going with my gut a lot more lately. Been going with my gut. I haven't been quick to emotionalism. I think when one studies and shows thyself approved, they find out that not everything is as it seems, and of course, not everyone is in the position. Not everyone is in the same position to see things for what they are. I guess my honest take on all of that, my gut tells me not to trust that man. It's just my gut. From all the research I've done, I don't trust it. It, by means of the vaccine, again, the vaccine is not FDA approved. None of them are. They're only approved for emergency use. It's not like there's been a boom in manufacturing N95 masks and giving those to everybody, making sure those are free. Again, when this first thing started, it was about getting an N95 mask because of the particulates. Now it's just about wearing any old mask. But we know that if everyone was wearing N95 or even N99 masks, which block out 99 or 95, that's what the 95 and 99 mean. 95% protection of particulates versus 99. I didn't see them pushing to make those masks or building those filters. They just got everybody wearing a mask that provides little to no protection. And in some cases, just traps the virus, or on it, and you take it home. Not everybody's washing their mask, especially the cloth mask. As soon as they come in, as soon as they come out, a lot of people are wearing disposables, just throwing them in their bathrooms. People just aren't on it like that, right? So what I was looking for from him was to see more confidence, not only confidence, but more of like, I've got a handle on this. I know exactly what we're going to do. In the things that actually matter. He said nothing. Trump said nothing. Well, even Trump said more about it than he did. But he said nothing about boosting your immunity. He said nothing about working out, which increases your body's natural ability to fight. He said nothing about vitamin D, zinc, nothing about those, nothing about eating better or immunity helping foods, nothing about nothing about personal. The only personal responsibility aspect he was talking about was washing your hands, staying 6 feet away from each other, and wearing a mask for 100 days. And mandating it, a mask mandate, essentially. All that's band-aids, if you even want to call them band-aids, to the real issue. Wouldn't it have, he could have even said all that, but he said nothing about making yourself better. He said nothing about chilling on all the alcohol, chilling on all the smoking, things that lower your immune system and make you more susceptible to the things. He said nothing about fighting the comorbidities. None of that. None of that. He literally just said, wear a mask for 100 days is going to slow the spread. I mean, even though these aren't N95 or N99 masks, just put something over your face. It's a patriotic act. Seems more like a ritual to me, but that's just my personal take on it. Of course, there are a lot of older people that could definitely be affected by this. I'm not saying older people shouldn't be able to go outside. They definitely should be able to. And maybe it's best that they stay among older communities if in the time being. But honestly, my gut is not confident about this. Something in my gut tells me this is bullshit. I'm just being honest. I'm starting to listen to my gut more and trying to find balance and alignment with my mind, with my flesh, and my spirit. And I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling the plan, what they're doing. I'm not feeling it. To me, it's not getting to the heart and root of the issue. And I think that because it's not doing that, it seems to come off as disingenuous to me. And I just can't rock with that. Now, everybody's got to make a choice. Everybody's got to decide if they're going to gamble their life with not getting a vaccine or gamble their life with getting a vaccine. When people are afraid, they start thinking about the here and now, and they lose sight of the future or what can happen in the future. They're only worried about the here and now, and it puts them in a form of survival mode. And when one is in survival mode, they are at the mercy of those that aren't afraid or those that know how to circumvent an issue that causes fear. They're at the mercy of those people because they aren't afraid, or they know something you don't know and thus can plan for the future. And survival mode has, just in regards to Black people, has been a way that Black people have lived for hundreds of years in some aspects. Not all of us, but a lot of us. Survival mode. And it's intentionally been that way to keep you, when you're afraid, you don't think straight. When you got all these different things and these stressors on your mind, you can't think straight. It's a miracle that Black people or any person can come up with true innovation, true marvelous things in such a stressed and hyperbolic state. One thinks to themselves, what could one come up with if they weren't in survival mode, or didn't have to have a gun to the back of their head, or didn't have to have consistent stressors that, increase cortisol rates and all these other things. I mean, how much greater could we be if we didn't have to be in survival mode? If we could just be in thriving mode. Let's thrive. Let's thrive. So I'm not feeling too confident about all of that, but I do know that I have supreme faith in the Most High. And as long as we keep doing the things that we need to do to protect ourselves and others, then that's all we can do. So what he neglected to mention, which I'll mention again, things that you can do to increase your immunity: get vitamin D, go out in the sun, ground yourself in the sun, drink it up, or take vitamin D supplements. Get you some zinc, that'll increase your immunity. You can eat better by eating better. Again, eat real food. I know that's seems, I'm not being funny. Eat real food. Cook your own food. Cook your own meals. Use nutrition-dense seasonings. Stay away from the smoking. If you smoke cigarettes, chill. You can have a cigar every now and again, maybe a Black and Mild, but don't let it be an everyday thing, right? If you're drinking, literally don't drink. But if you just got to, limit it to, maybe once a week. If you're used to drinking a couple times a week, right? Whatever you can do to help yourself. These are things that are not only going to help you in life and during this time, but throughout your entire life. Moderation, but not only moderation, discipline. Discipline. Okay, working out, supplements, chilling on the vices, and that's pretty much it. And then just pray. Pray, wash your hands, definitely wash your hands. If a motherfucker coughing, wear a mask. See, the reason I wear a mask when I go out, because I don't even really believe in it, but I wear it because motherfuckers be coughing. And without a mask, I'm like, these motherfuckers. So, people are just inconsiderate. Like, if you coughing, if you got a cough, wear a mask. Wear a mask. Trust me, I get it. I have motherfucking asthma. I get it. Well, had asthma. Have had, I don't know. Point is, I get it. Sometimes it's hard to breathe. It's very hard to breathe with these masks on. Sometimes I can breathe better at the gym with a mask on than it is being out in the elements with a mask on. And maybe that's due to air circulation. So, I get it. I guess those are just my ramblish thoughts. But yeah, so that's what you have to look forward to. Stay prayed up. And just have faith and do what you can. That's all we can do. If everyone does what they can, we'll all be fine. But taking in some junk that I don't know what's in it, altering my DNA for something like this, nah, I can't rock with that. But this is Real Talk, Real People. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel out tremendously. And as always, please keep it real. And we out.